Learning how to talk to strangers changed my life. And not even just how to talk to strangers, just talking to strangers. Starting to do that changed my life. I used to be an extremely nervous, socially anxious little boy. I was afraid to talk to pretty girls. Just because they're pretty, I'm afraid to talk to them. I was afraid of talking to the guys that were popular at my schools growing up because I didn't want them to judge me. What if I'm not going to be popular? And in my social interactions in general, there's only a few people where I felt totally free and comfortable to just be myself. Far majority of people I was talking to, man, even like my older cousins in my family, even with them, like there was a time where I felt like I was thinking so much about how I'm portraying myself. How am I being perceived? What are people thinking of me? What can I say to make people think I'm cool? And thinking about all those stuff instead of just being totally free and just letting myself be. Letting myself say what I naturally feel like saying. Letting this just exist. You know, even in front of a camera, I used to be a lot more like afraid to say the right words and blah, blah, blah. And now I feel so much more free. And I want to share how I've got, like, what this journey's been like for me. What I've done to see this, like, improvement. And also, even, like, when I started college, I had no friends, dude. Like, the first two and a half years, I had no friends. And once I started, because I didn't join a fraternity, so it's not like I was like immediately put into this group of people. But once I learned this skill of being able to just walk up to a group of people and say hi and make some friends just like that, it actually completely changed my social life. I started getting friends. I started becoming, because, you know, I mentioned I was afraid to talk to pretty girls. I feel comfortable talking to almost anyone now. Of course, do I get nervous sometimes talking to girls? Yeah, sometimes. But on the whole, oh my God. Like, I'm able to just be myself and not worry. Like, I genuinely don't care what they think of me. You know? Like, it's so bullshit to just because somebody is pretty to think that their opinion on me matters more than someone else's. Like, but anyways, not only did my social life change, even my dating life, because now I'm able to go on dates because I'm not afraid to talk to women. But the biggest thing, the most important thing that changed is the fact that I am comfortable to be myself. It's not about having a social life. It's not about having a dating life. It's not about being popular, having people like you. None of that shit matters at all. What matters to me is, how do I feel inside? When I'm talking to someone, I don't want to feel in a state of anxiety. I don't want to feel like I don't want to feel stifled and what if I don't say the right thing and oh my God, how am I being perceived? That feels terrible. And I lived like that most of my life and I hated it. How I want to live is free. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who I'm talking to. It doesn't matter if I'm talking to a famous person. I want to just feel like I am free to be myself and say what I naturally feel like saying and just allow whatever words to come and just not even, it doesn't matter what they think. That is an ideal way to live. It feels so much better. Ironically, the natural byproduct of that is making more friends, having more people like you, but it's not about that. It's about you feeling better. So, what has my journey been like to make this switch? How did this happen? Well, I think the first question shouldn't be how, it should be why. And what I mean is, why am I afraid to talk to strangers? If you want to know how I started becoming more comfortable talking to strangers, it's important to first know why you're afraid in the first place. Well, it used to be the idea of talking to strangers would be like, what if I say something stupid? What will they think of me? What if I say this? What if that? What if that? What if that? Why am I asking myself all these questions? What is this fear? Where does this fear come from? It comes from the fact that I thought that their opinion of me determines my value. I didn't feel good enough. I didn't value myself. So I thought that if other people give me their validation, if I get them to show that they value me, now I can start valuing myself. Now I can feel good enough as long as they tell me that I'm good enough. And that's why I was so afraid to talk to people, because I thought that my self-worth was at stake in all of these conversations. Oh shit, there's a whole bunch at stake. How I'm gonna feel about myself is at stake. They better think the right things about me. They better have a good opinion about me, or else I am going to feel bad about myself. So then it's asking myself, why do I feel this way? Why is this how my brain is working right now? And everyone may have different reasons. For me, I realized that I had a trauma growing up. I had really, really bad eczema to where I'd be bleeding in class, and I was like a little kid in like first grade, and all the other peers thought it was gross. It was covering like 70% of my body, you know? So I grossed all the other peers out about my age, and that made me feel like, so that I didn't get validation at that age. So I felt like I wasn't good enough. I learned I'm not good enough, and that I need someone's validation to make me feel good enough. You know, and we may not all remember what caused us to not feel good enough, and that's okay. But the point is that the first step to becoming comfortable talking to other people is healing that wound at the core. Healing what is the reason I'm afraid to talk to people, and healing that. I'm afraid to talk to people because I don't feel good enough, and I think that their opinion on me determines my worth. So getting into a conversation with them, I'm putting my own self-worth at stake. I am putting my self-worth on the line by starting a conversation with a stranger, because if they don't respond to me positively, I'm gonna feel bad about myself. That's why I'm so afraid. So because I was able to recognize that, I started being able to work on feeling better about myself, work on healing my self-image. In my whole channel, almost all my videos, I talk about how to feel more good enough. I recommend watching my video I Stopped People Pleasing. Here's how and why. I explain that whole video, because people pleasing for me stemmed from not feeling good enough. So I talk about how to heal not feeling good enough in that video. Recommend watching it. But here's the other thing, right? Because I'm gonna give two more things about how I became more comfortable talking to strangers. The other thing is, do it scared. All right? Don't wait until you feel confident to talk to someone, because that does not come. Well, for me, I don't want to speak for other people, but here was my experience. If you want to feel comfortable speaking to a complete stranger, that comfortability doesn't come until after talking to them. The confidence comes after. I'm shaking. There's a girl over there that's kind of cute, and I want to talk to her. I'm shaking and I'm nervous. But you know what? I do it scared. And this is a healing action to myself. It's not about the girl. The girl's opinion, the girl doesn't matter. Well, okay, of course she matters, but my point is that I'm not going into this conversation like I have to get a girl. No, this is a healing experience for myself. Because now I'm learning to, once I go up to this person and talk to them while I'm not feeling confident, while I'm shaking, while I'm nervous, I do it scared. Here's what happens. I start talking to them and I realize, oh, this is just like another human. This is just like another person. And it becomes so, I realize how easy it actually is to just talk to someone. I'm making it out to be so hard and difficult in my head, but once the conversation starts, it's like, it's freeing. It's like when you're gonna get into some really cold water and you're afraid to jump in because it's cold, but that moment, you just dive right into that water. You're like, I can't believe I was so scared. That was so freeing. That felt so good. And you know what? This was a great conversation. I just met someone cool that I wouldn't have met if I didn't talk to them, you know? All right, so the confidence comes after. And the more we do this, we start building it. We start building that confidence like a muscle in the gym, all right? The first person you talk to, like if you never talk to a stranger, this was my experience. That first person I talked to, I was scared out of my mind, bro. So scared. But the next person, I was still really scared, but a little less scared. And then a little less scared. And the more we do this, the more comfortable we become. But it's the scariest it is always right at the beginning. You had to get over that hump, and eventually it becomes comfortable and natural and easy. Because why? Because we've done a lot of reps. We're getting reps in at the gym to become comfortable talking to other people, you know? And it becomes easy. It becomes so easy, you know? Now, the third thing is we need to erase this idea in our head called, what do I say? Stop asking that question. Okay, here's why. When I ask myself, what do I say? Let's think about this. Why are we asking that question? Because we think we need to say the right thing. Why do we think we need to say the right thing? Because we are worried that they may perceive us differently if whatever we say. I want them to perceive me as a cool person, so I better say the right thing. So I'm gonna ask myself, what do I say? So let's stop asking that question, because it's just egging on this whole idea of, I need them to like me, so what do I say to get them to like me? Get rid of that. It does not matter. It doesn't matter what you say, because it doesn't matter what their opinion is on you. The whole point of this is to feel free, to feel like you don't have to worry so much about how you're being perceived and what you gotta say and all that. It's to get a sense of freedom in a conversation, to get rid of social anxiety, you know? And I'm gonna add one more thing. The fourth thing is the reason to approach somebody matters a lot. If I'm going up to a girl, for example, and I have this outcome in my head of I gotta get her number or some stupid shit like that, of course I'm gonna have social anxiety. Why? Because now I have an outcome in my mind. I better get the number. No, the whole reason to have a conversation is the conversation itself. It's not some ulterior goal outside of the conversation. The conversation itself is the goal. Be present, have fun. The point of this is to have fun. The point of walking up to a stranger is have fun, to talk, to meet people. It is a beautiful thing in this life to just have connections with people. That's a natural human thing. We love sharing experiences, sharing words with other people. You know, that's the whole point of a conversation. Let's not lose sight of that. It's not to get them to like us. It's not to be popular. It's not to get a girl to like you, not to get a guy to like you. It's not anything like that. It's just to enjoy the conversation. And with that in mind, it's like there's no stakes. There's no stakes anymore. There no longer is something on the line, or like, just, that's a great thing. That was a great mantra for me to tell myself. And it still is, if I'm ever nervous to talk to someone, just tell myself, there are no stakes. There are no stakes. This is a zero risk situation. Zero risk. And no stakes at all. There's only a possible reward of a great conversation. Maybe it's not a great conversation, but guess what? That's not a big deal. So what? I had a conversation that was just, okay, whatever. But there are no stakes anymore. There's just the beautiful conversation in front of us. And the last thing I'll add is just, the more I started doing this, I just started realizing, like, it's so fun. It's so fun talking to people. It's so fun making new friends, forming new connections with new people. Like, I love it. So I highly recommend this. This really changed my life. It not only changed my social life, changed my dating life, of course, all that stuff, but what mattered most is I feel free as a person now. I don't feel like I'm constantly judging myself and having to portray a certain way. I feel good enough, you know? So it really changed my life. I hope this video was of use, and I love you. If you want to support the channel, drop a comment down below. The comments really help boost me up, and the algorithm shows the video out to more people. So I always appreciate that, and hearing your thoughts as well. And yeah, be sure to like this video and subscribe as well. I love you, and peace.